Hi everyone, and welcome to our math lesson for today. Today we are working on Topic 5, Lesson 3, Make True Equations. Our learning intention for today is I can fill in the missing number in equations to make them true. So let's get started. So this week so far we have been talking about true and false equations. Now, true equations are when both equations on either side of the equal sign equal the same number. A false equation is when the equations on the side of the equal sign do not equal the same number. Our solve and share, beginning on page 221 in our Envisions Volume 1 workbook, says what number goes into the blank to make the equation true? How do you know? So we can solve if an equation is true or false by first solving each equation on either side of the equal sign. So first, let's solve for 2 plus 5. 2 plus 5. If you don't know 2 plus 5 by doing it in your head or on your fingers, you can also use counters. You can say 2 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then count out the numbers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2 plus 5 is equal to 7. For this to be a true equation, whatever number we add here to 6 would have to equal 7, because a true equation is when both answers of the equations are the same on either side of the equal sign. So what number plus 6 would give us 7? 7 is 1 more than 6. So what number plus 6 would equal 7? I know. 1 plus 6 would give us 7. So if your equation is true, both numbers on the side of the equal sign will equal the same. So 7 equals 7 is a true equation. And how do we know? Well, we showed our work here, but we could also show our work with counters. We could say 1 red counter plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yellow counters is equal to 7. We could even draw a line to show both sets of counters for each equation equal the same amount. Now let's watch our animated video that helps us solve the top of our workbook page 222.
Fill in the missing number to make this equation true. 10 minus is equal to 3 plus 4. How can you find the missing number? You can solve one side of the equation first. What is 3 plus 4? 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. How does knowing that 3 plus 4 is equal to 7 help you?
By knowing that 3 plus 4 equals 7, we want to find the blank that would give us 10 minus blank would also be equal to 7. Knowing that 3 plus 4 is equal to 7 lets us know that we want this side of the equation to also be equal to 7.
You know that the other side of the equation has the same value of 7. So write the equation as 10 minus equals 7.
The equal sign means has the same value as. So, you need to subtract something from 10 to get 7.
You can use counters to find the missing number. How many counters should you take away from 10 to get 7?
It tells us to cross out counters until there are 7 counters left. Notice how the 0 will change as we move the X over the counters. So it tells us to cross out until there are 7 counters left. So I know there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I need to cross out one more. Now there are 7 counters left. So 10 minus 3 would equal 7.
You should take away 3 counters. What is the missing number in the equation 10 minus is equal to 7? Select your answer.
So it wants us to select what is the missing number in the equation 10 minus blank equals 7. So this is what we just did on our last slide. We said when we had 10 counters, we crossed out 3 and had 7 left. So by crossing out 3, we are subtracting 3.
You take away 3 counters to get to 7, so the missing number is 3. 10 minus 3 is equal to 7. So 10 minus 3 is equal to 3 plus 4. The equation is 10 minus 3 is equal to 3 plus 4. How could you explain to someone else that this equation is true? Since the equal sign means has the same value as, and both sides of the equation have a value of 7, this is a true equation. Now you know how to fill in the missing number in equations to make them true.
Now let's look at our Convince Me, still on page 222. Our Convince Me says, what number can you write in the blank to make this equation true? Use pictures or words to show how you know. So the equation is 8 plus blank equals 6 plus 6. So first what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by rewriting our equation down here, just so I have a little bit more room to work with it. I want to look at 6 plus 6. So we have seen this equation before. 6 plus 6 is a doubles fact. So we had worked on doubles facts for quite a while. So tell me, do you remember what 6 plus 6 was? You can also work up and say, well, 4 plus 4 was 8. 5 plus 5 was 10. So 6 plus 6 would be 2 more. 6 plus 6 is 12. So on this side of the equation, whatever we add to 8, it needs to equal 12 because we want to make this equation true, which means both answers on the side of the equal sign are the same. So 8 plus what number is equal to 12? And you can use pictures, words, or any other methods you would like to use. For this problem, this is just how Mrs. Collier is solving it. But if you are wanting to use a different method or draw a picture, you can also do that. Well, let's think. 8 plus blank equals 12. We could find this by putting 8 counters or dots. 6, 7, 8. And then counting on until we get to 12. So I have 8 counters here. Now I'm going to count on until I get to 12. So I'm going to count on from 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I started with the 8 red counters. How many yellow counters did I have to add on to get to 12? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means that 8 plus 4 is equal to 12. So now this equation would be true because both equations are equal. They give us the same answers on each side of the equal sign. Now you don't have to use the counters if you want to draw X's or make your own drawing to solve this problem. You can also do that. As long as you are able to find the number and get the same true equation, then that method works okay for me. For our guided practice, still on page 222, we are going to be solving these two problems together. It tells us to write the missing numbers to make the equations true. We can draw counters to help. The first one has already been solved for us, but let's look at how they were able to solve it. Now we are wanting to make these equations true. So again, that means both equations will equal the same amount on each side of the equal sign. So we had 10 plus blank equals 5 plus 7. Next, they solved for what 5 plus 7 was. So 5 plus 7 is 12. So now they need to know 10 plus blank needs to be equal to 12. So 10 plus what number would give us 12? 10 plus 2 would give us 12. And then they just carried their answer down to the bottom. So 10 plus 2 is 12 equals 5 plus 7, which is also equal to 12. Now you can use counters if you would like. You could use counters to help you solve for 5 plus 7, and then also solve for 10 plus blank. So for example, if you wanted to solve for 5 plus 7, if you don't have counters at home, you can also just do this with your pencil and make X's. So if you wanted to solve for 5 plus 7 first, you could make the 5 red counters. Now add 7 yellow counters. I'm running out of a little bit of room, so I'm going to squish these counters a little bit. So now you have 5, and count on the 7 counters. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you could make your 10 red counters. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And count on till you get to 12. So you have 10, 11, 12. Now you have found what 10 plus 2 would be. Let's try number 2 together. On number 2, we have 9 minus 5 equals 6 minus blank. So the first thing we are going to do is solve for 9 minus 5. What does this side of the equation equal to help us find out what needs to be subtracted? Let's draw 9 counters. So I like to draw dots, so I'm just going to draw 9 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I subtract 5. So then I could just cross out 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many dots do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to write 4 in the blank. So I know to make it a true equation, this side also has to be equal to 4. So 6 minus what number would give me 4? I could also use counters to solve. I could draw 6 counters. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I could cross out till I have 4 left. So let me cross out 1. Oh, I still have 5 left. Let me cross out another. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 left. So I had to cross out 2 counters. So I'm going to write my answer down here again, 4. And then we had to subtract 2 from 6. So 4 is equal to 6 minus 2, because 6 minus 2 is 4. For your independent practice, you are going to be completing work on page 223. On your independent practice, it's just like our guided practice. You're going to write the missing number that makes each equation true. So each equation that we solve for is going to be a true equation. Now, if you don't have enough workspace on your workbook page, you can also use a sheet of paper if you need to draw counters or pictures to help you solve. I know it is our independent practice, but let's do number 3 together, just so if you need an example for this page, you will have one. On number 3, we are solving for blank plus 6 equals 4 plus 9. So what we can do first is solve the equation that we know to help us find what both equations are going to equal. So I can start by making 4 counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then adding 9 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now I need to count the total number of counters that equals 4 plus 9. I know I started with 4, so now I can count on. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 4 plus 9 is equal to 13. So now I need to solve blank plus 6 would give me 13. What is the missing number? And like I said, if you need another sheet of paper to solve for your equations, you can do that. So, what number plus 6 would give me 13? Let's think. Is there a doubles fact we could use to help us solve this equation? What about 6 plus 6? We solved for this equation earlier. What is 6 plus 6? We know that 6 plus 6 is equal to 12, and we need to get to 13. Well, that's just one more. So if 6 plus 6 is equal to 12, and I need to add one more, I could change the 6 to a 7, because 7 is one more. So by doing that, my answer goes up one more. Instead of 6 plus 6 equals 12, 6 plus 7 would equal 13. So in the blank, I would write 7. 7 plus 6 is equal to 13, and 4 plus 9 is equal to 13. So this makes these two equations true. Now I want you to solve for numbers 4 through 11. Remember that each equation will be true, meaning that both equations on each side of the equal sign will equal the same sum. Now is a good time to pause the video so that you can begin working or finish working on problems 4 through 11. When you press play, we will begin talking about number 12. On number 12, it says Carrie and Chris make telephones with paper cups and string. They take a piece of string that is 13 feet long and cut it into 2 pieces. One piece is 8 feet long. How long is the other piece of string? Write the missing number in the equations. So first we see the equation blank equals 13 minus 8 and 13 equals blank plus 8. What do you notice about both of these equations? Look at the numbers in both of the equations. We see that both equations have the number 13 and also the number 8. What do you think that tells us about the missing number? Think about a fact family. A fact family has the same 3 numbers in a set of equations. If both of these equations have 13 and the number 8, then that means the missing number in the blank will be the same for both equations. So first you need to solve 13 minus 8. Now remember, you can draw counters or X's to help you solve. You could draw 13 counters and then cross out how many you are subtracting. When you find what is 13 minus 8, write it in the blank for the missing number. Remember, 13, 8, and the missing number will be the 3 numbers in its fact family. The missing number you find here will be the same for this spot. You will also write your missing number in your answer choice for number 12. And for the last page of our workbook, we are going to be skipping over problem number 15, but solving 13, 14, and 16. Let's look at number 13. It says Kim has 14 tennis balls. Danny has 4 tennis balls. How many more tennis balls does Kim have than Danny? So it wants us to solve the equation by filling in the missing parts. So let's start with, how many tennis balls does Kim have total? It says Kim has 14 tennis balls. So there are 14 tennis balls shown in the picture. Danny has 4. So we want to find out, how many more tennis balls does Kim have than Danny? So when an equation says, how many more does somebody have? They're talking about how much less does the other person have. So we are going to be subtracting in this problem. So we know that Kim has a total of 14. So we are going to write 14 in our first blank because we write our total there. And then we know that Danny has 4 tennis balls. So we just want to know how many more does Kim have? So Danny has 4. We know that. So we are going to write our part that we know after the equal sign because we want to find the missing part. So on number 13, we want to find what is the missing number. We know we have 14 tennis balls, so you could cross off tennis balls till you have 4 left. So go ahead and do that on your paper. There are 14 tennis balls, so cross out tennis balls till you have 4 left. After you do that, count how many tennis balls you crossed off and write that number in the missing blanks. So cross off tennis balls until you only have 4 left. Then count how many you crossed out and write that number in the blank. Number 14 says Ron finds 10 rocks but drops 1 rock. Let's think about that really quick. If Ron finds 10 rocks and drops 1 of them, how many rocks does he have now? Ten minus 1. 9. Ron would have 9 rocks. So just remember that in your head. Anson finds 3 rocks. How many more rocks would Anson have to find to have the same number of rocks as Ron? So do you remember the number we saved in our head? 10 minus 1? What is 10 minus 1? If you have 10 and you take away 1, you would have 9. So we can see here there are 10 rocks and they crossed out 1 of them to show you would have 9 rocks left. So then, if we were trying to make a true equation, and 9 is what our equation needs to equal, 3 plus what number would equal 9? 3 plus what number would equal 9? You can draw a picture or use the pictures of rocks to solve. Write the number in both blanks for what 3 plus what number would equal 9. And for our last problem, problem 16, it says draw an arrow to show which number will make the equation true. We have 4 plus 7 equals 5 plus blank. So first you need to solve 4 plus 7 so that you can see what number both sides of the equal sign need to equal. 4 plus 7 equals what? Once you find that answer, you then need to see 5 plus what number would also give me this answer. Remember, to be a true equation, both sides of the equal sign need to be the same number. And remember, we are not doing number 15. If you need any help in your video, you can look back at our guided practice or at the animated video we watched. If you still need some help after that, you can let an adult know, and then they can contact me. I'll see you later.